Hi, it's John Glynn, and I'm going to do in this particular tutorial creating a vignette. Vignette being a shape where you have it kind of disappearing off into the background, or the picture disappearing, so it's going to be like an old-fashioned style of photograph. Okay, so we've got a picture. This is Melrose Abbey down in the Borders, and I'm going to have my picture with the layers palette open, so you've got your background, and we're going to be looking at using this particular elliptical marquee tool. So if you find that it's like this tool, you just click on it. That's the rectangular one at the bottom of your picture. The options will be rectangular and elliptical. So we're going to look at the elliptical options first, and rather than working on our actual picture, we're going to create a duplicate copy. So I'm going to just go to my background, click the right mouse key, duplicate layer, and say OK. This is just using a PC and mouse, nothing special. In Windows Elements, this happens to be version number 20, but this will work on any version of Photoshop. So I've got two pictures much the same. The actual background, the original picture, I can switch off, and I'm only really needing to worry about the top one. And now what I'm going to do is just go and create a new blank layer. So create a new layer with nothing in it. So that's the very first choice you get in the layers option, is at the top of your picture area. There'll be little options along here for what you can do with your layers. I'm going to go to the first one, create a new layer, click it once with the mouse, and I've got a blank layer. Now what I'm going to do is go and drag out a shape, which using my left mouse key over my picture, and the shape is the elliptical shape which I've created. There we are, and you'll see there's a marquee around that shape. You can move it about. You've got the choice to move it about with your mouse. You can also reshape. You can just do it again if there's a problem. It's often easier just to start again than to try and do anything else very often. And then on top of that, what we're going to do now, what we want to do is fill the background with colour, but I want to give a soft edge to this marquee. So I'm going to feather the edge. You could refine the edge and feather it, and if you use it so that you've got an idea of black on white, so you get choices here as to how it should be viewed. You've got black on with your picture, black on white, you get an idea of the softness that you're getting. You could do it on the black on your picture if you wish as well. It's a matter of finding what works for you, and you can see how soft the edge becomes, because the idea usually is to have quite a soft edge. You can use smooth as well. Smooth will just sort of hide any missed sort of jaggy edges, if you like, while feathering just does an overall softness. And then say OK. Then I can go and do the effect I want, which is I'm wanting to have a white sort of background, which is traditional in vignetting, is that it would be on a white sheet of paper, because it was done in the dark room. You'd have had white photographic paper, so the traditional is to have white. So I'm going to go to my colour swatches, and I've got a black and white colour swatch in the bottom of my toolbox, and I can switch them over. So I'm going to have white as a foreground colour, and black will now be the background colour. Then I'm going to go up to my select and inverse. So now I've got my selection, but I've inversed it so that it's now selecting the outer edges of my selection. Okay, so you can see two marquees, basically a marquee around the edge of your picture and the original marquee that I drew in. I'm then going to go to Edit and Fill Selection, and I'm going to fill with foreground colour. You could have actually left it as it was originally and just say fill with background, but just to add interest I'm saying fill with foreground colour, which is white. I'll say OK, and I now have a white, effectively a white sheet of paper with a hole cut in it, and this you can see in the layer. Here it is. The actual marquee I can now deselect. Okay, and I can always take out, that's what it looks like without the picture in it. So if I click on my picture, I now have my photograph. Okay, so the marquee, go to my move tool, this layer is active. I can move things around because it's separate layers. So to a point I can move various aspects of the picture about just to get it into the position I'm wanting. Okay, I can't actually resize this cutout hole because I've actually done that. So if I were to make it smaller, you can see of course the picture behind, so that would be a bit weird. So although you do have in theory options to change the size of things, it's limited. So if it's totally wrong, you'd have to start again. Okay, but as long as it's within reason, you should be okay just to do minor movements. Okay, and that goes for your background picture as well. There's a limit to what you can do, but you could resize that as well, of course, if you wanted to, and then turn on your Vignette. I'll have to say OK to everything, turn on my Vignette, and now you've got a different amount of information. I could go back to my background picture and I could make it smaller, but I can't make it too small because I now run out of picture at the edges, so I'd have to make it bigger. And if I thought, oh well, what I can do is stretch it, so I thought, oh, if I pull this to the side I'll now distort, so I can't do that. I have to work from the corners so that I keep everything in proportion, otherwise I'll end up with a very, very odd looking picture. So it's just a matter of, there is a limit to what you can do or how small you can make your picture, because it is reliant on you not having an empty area in your Vignette. Okay, so as close as you can to what you're looking for makes life easier all round. Okay, so a very simple way of creating a Vignette for a photograph. It doesn't have to be white, it could be any colour, but traditionally it's white, and because it is a separate layer, that background, that white, can be changed to a different colour whenever you wish. So if I thought, well, I don't want it to be white, but I'd like it to be red, I can now just make it red with foreground colour, paint bucket, and I've now got a red Vignette instead. It may lose some of that softness, of course, but that's something you just have to think about as to how you want your picture to look. Okay, so but that's traditional. Okay, you're painting, remember, onto a background and things like that, so you have to think about how you want your picture to actually look in the final essence. Okay, so it's a very simple way of creating a Vignette, though, without destroying your original picture. I've just made a background copy because it gives me freedom to move it around, and it doesn't do any harm to the background at all. I've still got that as a fallback if anything should go wrong. Okay, so have a go. It certainly does work, and it's quite a simple way of doing it. Okay, thank you for watching.